Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show we'll have a talk about a Linux project or distribution, desktop environment, applications, all kinds of wonderful things. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community. I think it's Linux, tech, and open source related on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, a Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the openSUSE project. And with me today, I got a fantastic panel of people, almost, real close. Yes. Fantastic panel of people. Haven't seen him in a while. The well caffeinated Tyler. I got Mike Chilson, Eric, Dale of Low Tech Linux fame, Colin, and Adam Grubbs. How is everybody?
Good.
Fantastic. Good. So be sure to do the straw poll if you have not done so. The straw poll is relating to the Linux. What sort of distro explorations would you like to do? So, and look at all the people in the YouTube channel already. Got Robin Justice Robin Just Emery. I want to say Justice Robin. He's like a superhero. Anyway, in my mind, he's a superhero anyway. On the docket for today, we'll be doing a news flight night, a straw poll about this distributions. But first, we're doing Linux and tech. Colin, as the countdown was happening, you're saying that you were doing a bash scripting rampage. Can you elaborate for the class what this bash scripting rampage was all about?
Well, I've been on the using the Cosmic desktop. I just like to mess around with it, install it every now and then, but I couldn't get it working with the Calamari's install. I've been using Esnix's Easy Archer and creating the ISOs, but I just could not, for the life of me, get this Calamari's installer going. So I decided I was going to install the Archway with the Arch installer. So I don't normally do that, but I've been messing around with that a lot and figured out, in VMs, how to overwrite existing, existing partitions and not overwrite others. That's my biggest concern with this. That's why I like to use Calamari's, because it's visually, my brain works better with that type of visual. But I've sort of, if you do something long enough and try it hard enough, you'll learn how to not mess things up, so to speak. So I thought,
I'm not there yet.
I had some scripts. You're not there yet?
No. I keep messing things up all the time.
Well, yeah, so do I. So that's okay.
Oh, okay. That's okay then.
So I made these scripts, whereas I can, instead of, I've got a script that selects different desktops. You git clone the script. So all I need is the git clone command, which I've got on my phone on Joplin. Then I can just punch that in, clone my 3 scripts. And one's a post install of Arch Linux, and I've used a mishmash of LC stuff and Easy Archer stuff, and made all my own scripts to be able to install different desktops, post install with all the general stuff that you need for Arch and multimedia and all that, my own packages, and I also made my own repository. So that was very interesting to do.
So
that took me quite a while.
You made your own repository. Is it a local repository, or do you put it like on somewhere out there?
No, I put it on GitHub.
Okay.
On GitHub. I've got a GitHub account.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a GitHub account. That's where my scripts are. So download them from GitHub, and my repository as well. So you just need to know the server name, the name of the... and actually, to be honest, I didn't realize in the Arch installer, when you're actually using the Arch installer, there is an option of putting your own custom repository. So I put that in there straight away, and my repository is actually entered without even touching the pacman.conf file. So that's just done straight off the bat, which is really cool. So I didn't even know you could do that. So I've been learning all that sort of stuff. So I've got, I think 4 different desktops. I've got Cinnamon, GNOME, Cosmic, and Budgie. So I might add a few more so I can just choose whichever desktop I want to install, just because I can.
Yeah.
You got to add KDE to that.
Yeah, KDE. Yeah, I will add KDE to that as well. So But I've been testing it and it works really well, and it downloads all the packages that I need. I've got a post install script. I've got an AUR script, but I didn't need it because I packaged anything I needed from AUR in the repository. So I've heard about it a long time ago, but I thought I'd give it a try, and it's pretty cool because I can install AUR packages just using pacman command. So that is cool. Yeah. So that's what I've done. So I reinstalled the Cosmic onto this computer, which I already had it on there, the Lenovo one, but I reinstalled it just to test out whether this thing works, and it works quite well. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's what I've been doing. I started 3 weeks ago before I went on my 3-week swing to work. And then I got back and I hadn't quite worked out the repository and how to do that. But I eventually worked it out. So that was pretty cool.
Well, Anna says, KDE, oh boy, too many settings, then Arch on top of it, and you get a black screen, LOL. Obviously, it's an opinion. It's an opinion.
I've never heard of that happening.
No, never. Little blinking cursor in the corner. Yeah.
Absolutely not. So
KDE's pretty...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, KDE's pretty what? Now I got to hear it.
I was just going to say KDE's pretty good, but I just prefer Cinnamon or GNOME because they're just not... Cinnamon's a nice balance between KDE and GNOME, I find, but GNOME's fairly simple. KDE can be complex and simple at the same time. Just depends what you want to do with it. But if you go down the rabbit hole in KDE, it can take you in all sorts of directions, I must say. But yeah, go on, Eric. Sorry.
It's a rabbit hole with a lot of features, though. So there's that.
Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I think it's very much like a Ford Chevy kind of thing, which is maybe more of a United States thing. But it really does come down to what your preference is. Yeah, I believe I agree with you. Cinnamon is sort of that middle ground. But yeah, in terms of like, it's really GTK versus non-GTK for me. Like that's my separation, and I tend to like GTK based desktops and kind of always have. I had a stint for several years where I did use Kubuntu and pretty much exclusively liked Qt and non-GTK stuff, but for some reason I just keep getting pulled back. Just like, I have a preference for Debian or Ubuntu based, apt based systems. I don't know, just not that I don't like Fedora or openSUSE or, I just kind of, mesh with that. And so, but I think Plasma 6 is pretty good looking, I gotta say. And I'm looking forward to some of the changes they're making in terms of the look and feel of the desktop, because I think that's long overdue. I think if
they have definitely simplified some processes in changing things around. So, and if they keep pushing in that direction, I think KDE, because KDE, to be honest, it's always had a reputation of being bloated and slow, but it's not the case, because I think it actually runs more slim than XFCE just about.
Yeah, now it does.
You know what I mean? So because from what I've heard, the Qt toolkit is very efficient. So and so it can run very, very good on even lower spec computers. So I did use it on this thing. I did have it running on the Surface Go, but I've now got GNOME on there. But I did have KDE on there, and it did work really well too. But I just find GNOME on something like that with a touch screen a lot more simple. Yeah. GNOME runs really well on the touch screen, so I kept GNOME on there. So, but KDE did run pretty good.
KDE just needs some. So they're working on a newer virtual keyboard, which I think will probably help with that experience, like a touchscreen experience, a little more. I wanted to actually try Plasma Mobile, but I haven't gotten around to it. I have a device just like what you showed. I have a Latitude tablet, and I want to see how KDE Plasma Touch is on that. Plasma Mobile, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You can test the that new keyboard that they're making, that KDE's actually making for KDE, you
Hmm.
can test it on Tumbleweed. I'm testing it on my 3-in-1 laptop behind me, and it's a lot better. It's still a little oversimplified, like my light, but it just it's for me. It's been working flawless, and they're
Oh,
not even
cool.
considering it ready, consumer ready yet. And for me, it's working absolutely flawless.
Neat.
That's
Okay,
exciting
yeah,
news.
I do want to try it because I literally just tried it like yesterday, like last night, and yeah, the existing one, it's just not really touch. You know what I mean? You either have to have it on and it's the only input or off. Like it just doesn't really switch intelligently, and I'm hoping that they have a little bit better.
Yeah, the new one is a whole lot better. And if you're running Tumbleweed, it's you can install it with an Opie Plasma keyboard. That's plasma
Oh,
hyphen keyboard.
okay.
That's it. Just Opie plasma hyphen keyboard. That gives you the new one. Then you'll have to go into the settings on KDE
And
and
choose it.
in the virtual keyboard setting and activate it. But for
Gotcha.
me, it's been working a whole lot better than my light.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Uh, I wanted to go back to so Colin was creating different scripts and stuff, and I think a lot of people are afraid to get into creating Bash scripts, but it's really pretty low effort when you kind of just and I mean it can be as complicated as you want it to be, but in terms of getting started, I think you can pick something pretty straightforward. Like I've been, you know, creating scripts for a long time, but I had a need where there just isn't something built into the desktop environment. So on GNOME, you can, there's different ways you could toggle the touchpad. And I like usually to have the setting where if I plug in an external mouse, it just disables the touchpad. The problem is that there is a G settings option for that, which I've enabled. But if it doesn't toggle back on, if you remove the mouse, at least not in my case. Sometimes it used to, but it doesn't seem to be dependable. So what I really wanted was a way to use a keyboard shortcut to toggle the touchpad, and really there's nothing built into the settings. There's no way to really, straightforward way to do it. So I created a little script to use G settings where it basically just says, whatever the current status is, then make it the other status. And so it's either disabled on external mouse or enabled. So you're either disabling it or enabling it. And I just have it set to a keyboard shortcut. So if my my mouse isn't working, then all I have to do is hit the keyboard shortcut. I can use my because what I'd been doing before this was you could still use the launcher and and launch an application, and then use the tab keys like in the settings here and tab, 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 tab to get to the right section, enable touchpad. And then so it was just a real pain in the butt to do it that way. So it's real simple 23 line script. I mean, it could probably even be simpler, but this one at least checks to see if G settings is a valid command and just does some basic stuff like that. And so, yeah, scripting is super, it's a lot of fun. Like you can do
Oh,
so many
I,
things,
I love it. For some reason, it's just like you feel as though you've created something where you can just choose a letter or a number and you just watch the magic happen. And it's just amazing that when if you asked me 10 years ago I was doing this stuff, I would have said you're crazy because there's just no way. But I mean, I even made a script where I've got my YAD. So normally when I create my ISOs, I have my YAD script on the home. It'll be automatically once the system's installed in the home folder. But when you're obviously installing Arch with the Arch ISO, the Archway, you've got nothing. So I've made a script as part of my scripts. It actually, once the desktop is installed, I go back to that script and I just choose the YAD script, which is on Google Drive, I think it is. And then that takes me, automatically opens up Firefox to that Google Drive. And then all I have to do is click download and download it and extract it. Because I could never remember the path to my Google Drive to get, so it just makes it automatic, and then I can just download it and then put it there. And that's, I've got my YAD scripts and I've got my install scripts, and and my desktop scripts. So the interesting part is I've made my custom desktops. So I use the Cosmic Store for most of them, although I was trying out the Budgie desktop yesterday. The Budgie desktop, the Cosmic Store won't launch because Budgie doesn't use Wayland. So the Cosmic Store only works Wayland only. But I'm using Cosmic Store on all of my desktops because it actually integrates Flatpak and the system packages as well, so which is pretty cool. So I sort of like that idea as well.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's quite good. And I just customize each desktop, which is why I've got that repo as well, because I've got like Pix, which is used in Cinnamon, and Xviewer and all these things used in Cinnamon. So it gives you like a almost Linux Mint Cinnamon desktop on Arch. So I was playing around with things like that just because I can. And I just find it really interesting to be able to do those things. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Well, that's cool.
I need to put all this on. I need to put it on video, but I just don't really find the time, to be honest. I'm only home for a week at a time at the moment. So yeah.
When you're away on the job site or the location where you're working, do you have time to Linux at all, or is it pretty much awake, asleep, awake, asleep?
No, I'm sort of up at 4 o'clock in the morning, back at 5:30. Then you got to have a shower, go and have dinner in the diner, and there's not much time left between that and then go to sleep. So, and then do another 10.5-hour day or whatever it is. So, and that's 21 days straight. So I'm not complaining. I like the job. It's pretty good. But yeah, I just don't get time to do. I did actually, I was so fixated on trying to get this repository thing done. I did, when I got to camp, I did try and do it there, but their Wi-Fi is just not good enough. So I have to wait till I get home because trying to download things and that's just too slow. So I just couldn't do it.
Gotcha.
So I thought, I'll wait till I get home. But the problem is after 21 days, I had to come here and go, right, where was I? What was I up to? What point was I at that I have to sort of figure out something? So, yeah, I spent Friday, I think it was, just trying to nut it out. And I definitely worked it out and I was pretty happy with myself. So it's amazing when you...
Sounds like you need Windows recall.
Yeah.
That would help, right?
Yeah. But it's I did. It's amazing when you do something and you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, but just one little change and it's like, wow, got it. It's exciting.
Yeah, and it's very much the Unix philosophy of like scratch your own itch and also like single task. Your single purpose things, simple, small,
Yeah. But I'm learning a lot doing this. And when you think you know Linux, but when you get into the nitty gritty of these sorts of things, which is what Arch is all about. It's all about learning, isn't it? Arch. If you're going to use Arch, you're learning about stuff. And I even got now the Arch mailing list as a shortcut in my browser because I realized that there are some things you need to know, and if you got the mailing list, that they will tell you what's wrong, and pretty much they work out a fix pretty quickly. So yeah.
Have you thought about playing around with Nix also? I mean, because it seems like Arch and Nix, it kind of attracts the same.
It's funny that you should say that. I was watching a video on some guy with Nix OS last night, and that just popped up in my home feed. So I thought I have used Nix before. And I found it quite interesting, but then I stopped using it. But yes, it can be. I think you can do everything in. I don't know. Can you change desktops on the fly in Nix? I don't know. I think you can.
I think so.
I think you can. I'm not sure, but
I don't actually know how that works at all. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know anything about Nix. It's one of those. It's one of those things.
It does give you all these. It gives you these options of so once you do the thing and you go switch or whatever the command is, then you actually log into that one, but you can log back into it because it keeps all these snapshots on boot up. So it's real interesting. But I don't know if you can change desktops, that would be interesting because I like to change around every now and then.
I know that
I don't know if Nix does that.
I think there's like a way to use Nix packages on other distributions too.
Yeah,
Yes.
there is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it might be a Nix challenge, but that might be like a month long thing that we have to plan ahead of time for, because I think we have to get like Sean or somebody who can really tell us these are the things that you should try to do to like, because it's just one thing to like run it, get to a desktop, and then say, hey, could I live in this? It's another thing to like dig into the underbelly of a distribution and say, couldn't I do like nifty sysadmin things with it?
Yeah. So Tyler's using Silverblue, which is very similar, isn't it? I think Silverblue sort of works in a similar way, I think.
I don't know. Tyler, you said
you've
been using RPM OS tree based for Silverblue for Atomic Cosmic or whatever. Do tell.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using Silverblue on my laptops and my spare machines for a few years now, and on my Lemur Pro, which is now my spare laptop, I updated that and I ran the RPM OS tree rebase command to rebase from Silverblue over to Cosmic Atomic. Just one command. It runs the all the package upgrades to build the image in the background, and then you just reboot into the new image. Before I did that, though, I pinned my current deployment so I could roll back to it just in case there were any issues, which I didn't have to in this case.
Nice.
So that's really cool. Like a lot of that stuff, it's a very neat concept, and I like that. Like what I really want to have my cake and eat it too with all these things. I just don't know how to accomplish that yet.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I'm actually following BlendOS on Telegram. I don't really go in there much. Every now and then I do, but BlendOS was another one I was really interested in because they seem to be able to do all these things as well. But it takes a lot of time to sort of work out how all these things work. And I want an operating system that can actually give me an opportunity to have home folders, but you can change desktops, right? And you can go into a new snapshot with a new desktop, but everything else stays the same. I think it's possible. I'm not sure if Silverblue does that, Tyler, but I know it's possible. I thought it was possible on NixOS. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I did do that on Nix.
Sean says in Nix, you can specify the desktop in the configuration.nix. Then you need to rebuild to log into the new desktop. So I know there's
right. Okay.
Yeah, and on Silverblue or just the Fedora Atomic distros in general, yeah, you can rebase between the different spins that are made for the different Atomic desktops out there. So you have Silverblue, you have Kinoite for Plasma, you have one that's for Budgie, Cosmic, Sway, and I think there's one or two more.
I think isn't Bazite one of those part of that family?
Yeah, then you have the Bluefin family that you can rebase to, like, Bluefin, Bazite, and some of the other variants on that side.
I will say, and I'm, yes, I do like my openSUSE, but I do have to say that Bazite is a compelling number two. Like right now, what I have running in my world is openSUSE primarily, and then Bazite on some specific use cases because it does exactly what I want it to do for that use case, and I think it's absolutely perfect. It doesn't work great for me for like my primary system, but it does work great for me in like those specific use cases, and I think it's absolutely perfect.
Speaking of openSUSE, Aeon is actually on my list of things to try on a spare hardware when I get the chance.
Yeah. I think those teams are working pretty close together too. I don't really know actually.
Is Bazite part of the Fedora family, is it?
Yes.
Bazite? Is that part? It is, yeah, okay, yeah.
It's based on Fedora Atomic, yeah. And so
yeah, okay. All right.
My only issue with Bazite is it's very hardware dependent.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the right kind of hardware, because it's made for gaming specifically,
right?
Then it's not really a great fit. So that's the only thing that I would say is a potential, pitfall.
Which is why I say it's perfect for that use case for specific use cases. So like my 1X player that I have, the mini one that I take with me when I travel, it's perfect. It's a perfect mashup of that for that hardware. It great on a Steam Deck, although I don't have it running on a Steam Deck because I almost had like a mutiny with my son about not changing the Steam Deck OS. But anyway, ultimately though, having Bazite on there with like Tailscale baked in and all these different little things that I want baked in that SteamOS does not offer makes SteamOS very compelling. And I think I'm going to probably do it anyway when he's not paying attention.
I think that's, Bazite's also the one that I'm seeing a lot of interest just in general on, like YouTube and elsewhere. So, Jay-Z 2 Cents, he made a video. It was his first Linux video ever in 20 years, ever, like in the 15 years he's been doing his channel or whatever. And like they chose Bazite and had a really good experience with it. So, I mean, I think something like Bazite is going to be very important. And it's also sort of that bridge with SteamOS. And so, yeah, I in terms of like adoption and interest in Linux, it really feels like Bazite. And it's interesting too, because Fedora was going to get rid of 32-bit. And, a lot of people said, well, then Bazite's not going to be a thing anymore. And they sort of changed their mind. So I think that kind of shows how important gaming is right now, and the way it's changing people's minds about, Linux in a general sense. That it's more than just, nerds. That there's more to it than that. And if someone they watch on YouTube can do it, then they can do it too, and have such a great experience. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Colin. I think it's fun hearing your bash scripts, your bash script rampage that you're doing, and so
not only that, the other thing I learned was how to, because on GitHub you normally just drag and drop files on GitHub, but I did learn how to actually push files from your
Terminal?
own, from terminal, So I made some changes to some files last night and tried to push them to GitHub, but came up with this massive error. I don't know what I've done wrong. Maybe I've done too many. I don't know.
So,
It was telling me can't do this, can't do that. You're sitting behind this or whatever. I don't know what the error was, but I don't know.
If you run Dolphin, the file manager, like on Plasma, there's a GitHub integration, so you can actually see the states of the different files you've edited before as you push them up, so you can actually know if it's been edited and not committed or whatever. Yeah,
committed and all that. So I don't know what happened there. I may have to clone it again to maybe reset it. I don't know. So if you clone it back to the system and start fresh, then it may work. I don't know.
I think maybe if you merge the last round of changes, and then you can do another, then I think that's when you can clone it and then push back up. I don't know. I don't use GitHub enough to tell you. So
I don't use it enough either, to be honest. I normally just drag and drop. So
you have to talk to Adam on that one. Adam.
Hey, Colin. Hey, Colin, are you doing like a git add and then a git commit and then doing a git push?
Yeah, git add, git commit -m to the repository, I think, and then git push.
Okay. What's it saying after you do the git push?
Oh, I can't remember. It was all this. I know it was red and yellow, all this text. So I thought, I don't understand what the hell it's talking about. So I called it quits at that point, and then I just drag and dropped my new file. I deleted the existing file on GitHub and just drag and dropped the new one. So I didn't know what was going on there. So I just thought I'd do it manually.
Well, if you get in a bind, don't hesitate to message me on Discord. I'm
sure.
There, so
no worries. Thanks.
Excellent. Well, we should go ahead and get to that StrawPoll. If you have not yet done the StrawPoll, please do so.
Oh, no, I haven't done it. Done it. Hang on. Well, just a minute.
All right.
Was there a link for that?
Yep.
I got it. A link?
There's in the
there it is.
And the YouTube.
Found it.
So I'm going to check that out. Knock that out. So, Eris puts these things together. I think this is a good one. Probably necessary. I have not looked at the results yet. I'm going to do so now. But there was one reply that says, I vote for all of the top 3 options. No, I vote for all 3 of the top options. I just wish I had a schedule that allowed me to participate. I wish you had a schedule that allowed you to participate too, but I totally get it. You know, life does that thing where it gets in the way.
It does.
Yeah.
Very, very consistently, actually.
Yes, it's amazing how that goes.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm just gonna wait a few moments. So,
yeah.
So which type of distro explorations do you prefer? That's the question. Go ahead and refresh here. Wait a couple moments. So, yeah, I do like these straw polls. They're good. I would say not quite an icebreaker, but kind of like a kickoff. Good kickoff. Besides what are we doing in Linux and Tech, I suppose.
It's a conversation starter, right?
Yeah, it's like when you want to get the conversation.
The people have spoken.
Right.
This is not a democracy.
Well, it kind of is. I'm just the super PAC though, or I got what is it? What is the super delegate? Whatever, doesn't matter.
Hey, I run a forum and I tell everybody I'm a benevolent dictator.
Oh, okay, there we go.
That's it. That's how you do it.
All right, so the votes are in. It looks like there's a tie for first place between mainstream distros and less known distros. Yeah, at 21.74% each. And then in third place would be in between distros. Tux Penguin, actually it's tied for third place, would be Tux Penguin.
Tux Penguin.
Yeah.
And then in fifth place is whatever wins during the live stream. So
yeah, that was mine.
Yep.
That was mine. Whatever wins during the live stream.
Another got a couple of votes. So anyway, yeah, I think that's about right. Me personally, I like the the lesser known distros because I think they're fun. Although sometimes they're also a train wreck, and that's also fun. And it's like, how can we talk about this train wreck without saying it's a train wreck? You know, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Did you guys do Pica OS
We
on
did.
here and I missed it? Okay, yeah, because I just installed it today to play around with it, and I was pretty impressed.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I've heard of that one before. Pika or Pica?
However
Sure.
you want to say it. I
I
would
thought
say
it was Pica.
yeah, I would say Pica, but it doesn't matter.
I'm Aussie, so you don't worry about what I
Yeah.
say, to be honest.
Actually, we make your way gospel, and then it makes everyone else confused.
Well, the Aussie way is to
that-
shorten everything. So if it's more than a syllable or two,
That's
you'll
right.
Find it.
Correct.
That's because everything in Australia is trying to kill you, so you got to be quick about it.
So if you're doing something on a Saturday afternoon, it'll be Saturday Arvo, right?
Yep.
See what I mean?
Doesn't even sound like English.
It's not. It's Australian.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh goodness.
So what about you, Eric? Are you more of a mainstream or what did you?
I said whatever wins because I honestly like it to see what people are interested in. I feel like I kind of have my own fairly, strong opinions about things. Like I said, I tend to use the same kind of distros. I tend to be GTK based, and so whenever someone comes out of left field with something, I like to check it out and see what's different. Like for Pica, I actually downloaded the Hyperland. I
Hyperland, yeah.
Hyperland version because I figured, well, I haven't tried Hyperland. If they've packaged it and it's functional, then I'll take a look at it. So yeah, I was playing around with that, which is pretty neat. And yeah, so I like things that challenge me to try different things.
I have to say, the Hyperland window manager looks really, really nice, I must say. If some people are making up like config files for Hyperland, which makes it look so nice. It just looks like a really nice desktop. For me, however, the problem is remembering keyboard shortcuts.
Right. That is true.
Yeah.
So Tyler, you said in the meeting chat here, says I voted other. My interest falls into trying different immutable or atomic distributions. So you've kind of fallen into, not I shouldn't say fallen, but you've kind of whatever. You've gone toward the immutable distribution pathway. And what is it about it that attracts you specifically? Like, is there something like that excites you about it motivates you? I mean, obviously you're excited to use it for some reason.
Right. I personally, I just really like the idea that that base OS is kind of that image. It's that stable thing that you know it's going to boot, you know it's going to come up, you know that if an update's not going to work, it's just not going to build that next image. You do have to figure out why, but generally, if you're not having a bunch of layered packages, updates are just going to be automatic. You reboot, you go into that new image. If something's wrong, you roll back. It's pretty easy to have a nice, stable appliance-like system almost. So
Right.
that's why I run it on practically everything but my main workstation. But I've kind of stuck to that Silverblue world, so
Hmm.
I'm really curious to try other distributions attempts at doing immutable or atomic distributions like openSUSE Aeon or I believe Manjaro is working on immutable images now.
Yeah, I heard that they were too. Yeah, so, someone mentioned
Yep.
that.
Yeah. Did you have you looked at vanilla by any chance?
I have not had a chance to look at vanilla either. So
Yeah. They're doing interesting things. It's not quite sort of as I would say polished as Silverblue or the derivatives, um but they're doing different things, which I think is neat. So
right. So no, I'm loving that there's this growth in this immutable distribution space, and I'm excited to just explore the different options that are out there.
I mean, I could see how, and again, I'm seeing Bazite, again, it's more focused towards gaming, but the idea that it's a pre-built, purpose-driven sort of, there's a direction and a reason for that. And that's kind of what's a distro is all about, in my opinion. So,
Mhm.
uh, and I do think that the idea that you can maybe buy a piece of hardware that the manufacturer feels more comfortable selling with Linux on it because it's, an immutable base and, they can work with a vendor. And I think it's just a more straightforward, easier to support solution.
Yep.
And I think it also mirrors something that we're all really comfortable with already, which is that's how our phones work.
Hmm.
We have that
Yep.
immutable base and then we're running apps on top of it.
Hmm.
That you can choose to root things and do different things, but by and large, you're getting a known product, and I can see, the future where Linux, at least some of the distributions are made like that, where it's like made for certain pieces of hardware or made for certain purposes where, like there's not, you don't have to deal with layering packages because everything you need is a flat pack or,
Yep.
something else. So,
Yep, it definitely is because most pretty much everything I need I can grab as a flat pack, or if I can't get it as a flat pack, I can run it in a distro box. I
mhm.
don't really have the need, except for maybe some base packages or drivers, to layer packages on top of the base system. And I do, I'm leaving snaps out of this, but there's again nothing really Ubuntu based that's desktop that is immutable yet.
Well, they've got Ubuntu
And
Core, right? I mean, isn't
th
that sort of?
yeah, but that's not really a desktop, I don't
Yeah,
think.
that's true. That's true.
I thought with the
Yeah,
Ubuntu Core, that you can layer on the desktop and everything else on top of it with snaps.
Well, but you can still do that with like Silverblue. You can do RPM OS tree and layer actual packages on top of the image. So it's like
yeah,
images at the bottom, and then layered packages are on top of that, and then userland stuff is on top of that. So,
yeah.
uh,
But as far as in the kind of the Ubuntu land, I don't think there's any pre-made desktop images that are made from that Ubuntu core just yet. It's still just traditional Ubuntu.
gotcha. Yeah, but
But
I could.
if I'm wrong, let me know. But I
No, that
don't
sounds
think one
right.
exists yet.
I don't know,
And
but
I could imagine because of the way Snap is, compartmentalized and um, I don't know. I feel like Canonical made this like really hard push for Snaps a few years ago, right? I mean, they were just like everything you heard from them was Snap, 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 and and then the last thing I really heard from anyone who knows is, you know, uh, who is it, Alan Pope, saying that he initially snapped all these different packages and all these different things, and like he's kind of stuck maintaining them, and it seems like there's a lot of sort of stuff that's dying because people aren't maintaining it. And so I wonder, I mean, Snap is a proven technology to me on the server. And I don't mean to get into this whole like protracted, discussion, but
No, right.
I just think like it would be a shame if Snap didn't progress and keep the momentum it had, but I just don't. It just feels like everything I hear right now is Flatpak, and it's very much related to all of the atomic type stuff, because every atomic distro I know uses Flatpak. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Flatpak just kind of won that mind share in the Linux space outside of Ubuntu.
Yeah, and they keep
The
getting
same. I have nothing
funding.
against
Yeah, go
Snap,
ahead.
but it just feels awkward trying to run Snap on anything outside of Ubuntu. And then I don't think because of the way a lot of the atomic distros out that are out there work, Snap doesn't really work with them anyway,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep.
So
And I think Flatpak's gotten a lot of funding, and they've made a lot of like agreements and associations with people. They put a lot of effort into their website and the experience. I really like how things are verified now, and you know that you're getting it from the author, which is super cool. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
there's so many positive things, and if you use a lot of Flatpaks, like the consideration that people had where it was like, well, if I want to run one Flatpak, I have to have all these run times and stuff, and it's like, yeah, but like if you've got, I've got probably 24 Flatpaks on my system, and most of them are using, a mix of the same libraries. So like overall, and I think Leo did a episode, Leo and Dan did an episode on like, or talked about like how much space
Yes,
was
they
used
did.
was that
by.
last episode?
Yeah, and it wasn't
Yep.
like a huge difference between them.
Especially
So
when it was interesting with the .exe files in Windows, they were very similar. I think the .exes might have been a bit bigger than Flatpak, I think. So when you think about that sort of thing, it's a very similar storage space that's being used amongst them all, except if it's from a repository, then it's a lot smaller, right? Obviously. But Flatpak and .exes and snaps are very similar. So not
yeah,
a lot of, I mean, storage is a lot cheaper than what it used to be, right? So I don't think we really worry too much about that these days,
Yep.
to
I
be
mean, it's
honest.
especially hard to find smaller SSDs anymore.
Yeah,
I know when I
yeah.
was putting together one of my spare systems to turn into an openSUSE box, I was like, am I really gonna have to waste a 256 gig SSD just to run openSUSE? Just based on what I
Yeah,
had lying around.
yeah.
Yep.
yeah, that's right.
Excellent. Well, you know what? I agree with you. I think I don't see atomic or mutable or whatever you want to say. I don't see it going away. If anything, I see it gaining traction. And I do think it's interesting you say other though, because at this point, given the poll questions, I would even consider that an in-between distro at this point, maybe.
Maybe
Uh,
I think it was just my qualifier wasn't really whether it's well known or not, just more of my interest is based on kind of a specific kind of distro
yeah,
versus whether it's
Specific
well known
architecture.
or
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. And
Cool.
I think I totally understand it. I mean, if I were to want to deploy something in the enterprise space for workstations, I absolutely would make it a immutable distro. Like I don't see any reason why I wouldn't at this point, because
Yep, and then the
users
enterprise
can't break
space
anything.
really. Yep. And the cool thing about the enterprise space is you can define your own images that then get deployed to those machines,
Right.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
Adam had been talking about he was doing a build process where it was like building his images. I forget what he was using, if it was like Silverblue or something. Maybe it was Bazite, but I think he was talking about how he had a GitHub action that was like building an image, and then he
he had
could
a
download it.
specific laptop that required a specific hardware
Oh, yeah,
driver
that's
for
right. That's right.
Wi-Fi or sound or something,
Yeah.
some whiz bangetry, and so he did it all in the cloud and then would pull it down and then if it didn't work or we wouldn't even build it, I guess if we wouldn't build it, then it would be in the cloud. It wouldn't build. Then he'd fix it and pull it down. But yeah,
You guys do pay attention. Awesome.
We do.
well,
we
only
do.
kind of. Well, that was actually one of those like, it was that conversation we had at that time that it really struck me how I think for probably most commercial or consumer use cases, immutable is probably the way to go. Like I think at this point. And that was the specific conversation where that really hit me.
Yeah.
Now combine immutable distro on the client with a VDI for the actual interaction.
What's VDI? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm.
VDI is like a client type virtual desktop thing.
Oh, yeah.
The idea is that the machine itself is imaged via the immutable, and then the person actually just interacts with a VDI client.
As long as
So
I
you
have
don't have
internet
to
connection, be great.
Point security.
Yeah, we're never going to get rid of the client server model. I love everybody who's like, that's such a dead way of doing like, no, it isn't. Oh, actually, Adam, he piqued my interest. So before we started and before you joined, I was asking Nate about like how he was trying to get open source into, his position. And he was just telling me about some goofy Windows based product that they use. And it reminded me entirely of that. The thing you did at APS, or what was it, like the DNS server or something, where they were taking like 10 seconds to resolve, and you were like, yeah, I can fix that.
Yeah, they had Microsoft DNS. They were all load balanced, but they were taking like 7+ seconds to resolve. And I put up 2 bind. This gives you an idea what they were, but they were just bind DNS on RHEL 7, I think, or CentOS 7 at the time. Yeah, so just bind DNS on CentOS 7, and the 2 of them in a HA proxy cluster did like 90% of the work, and because it was balanced based on resource usage, and that 90% of the traffic was equal to the other 7 DNS servers doing their normal job. Yeah, so
Which is just laughable,
it was
right?
insulting,
it's
yeah.
like,
But of
yeah,
course,
exactly.
they told us that no, we can't do that. So
Yeah, sorry, we can't go away from Microsoft, even though that's a much better solution. And how much did it cost? Yeah, the time it took
nothing?
you
You
to
know,
do it.
So, Adam, I'm going to hit you up probably sometime this week because I want to talk to you about some issues I've been having, and I wonder if maybe you have already encountered those and fixed it with a better solution than what I'm dealing with. So,
What's your consultation right now, Adam?
yeah, I'm sitting at about 80 an hour.
Oh, come on, you gotta go higher than that.
2 hours, yeah. 80 an hour minimum bill, 2 hours. So.
I'll send you Oreo cookies.
You'd be a lot of cookies, my friend.
Double stuff?
Inflation.
You would insult him by sending single?
Right, yeah. He sent me the mint ones. These are toothpaste. Give me real ones.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well, it is a
All
news
right, you
flight.
gotta
Not yet. I do, but I want to talk about this before.
Go ahead.
I quietly do the Irish goodbye or slip out and come back. So August 9th is a really exciting day. Do you know what it is?
Is it 20 years of openSUSE?
It is 20 years of openSUSE. So
You mean July
2
9th?
decades. No, I think it's August 9th.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Open what?
yeah, no one's ever heard of it.
Open
Is that
sussy
under-
wussy?
Is that under lesser known distros? Maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
What
you're
did
right.
the
It is,
chameleon
it is
say?
August 9th. You're right.
I don't know what the chameleon said.
That's
Mine just sits
awesome.
there. But anyway,
Well-
so if you I just want to bring it up. Those that are involved in the project, they have like a thing they want to do. If you have pictures of you in openSUSE or whatever, submit any pictures they use in a presentation. So I got to figure out a bunch of things to do for that because I got to. But anyway, so I'm really excited. It's still kicking, 20 years, yeah. So how much longer? I don't know, but I'm here for the ride.
I can't imagine. I mean, unless something dramatic happens, I mean, I can't see it changing at this point. You know?
Who knows?
I mean, they keep extending things, and they keep adding things, but I don't really ever see them like pulling back and I know it's not a everyday distro for a lot of people. But in terms of like the enterprise, having them as an alternative, you know, and openSUSE being like the test bed for that, I think it's. There's so much value to that. I just can't see that going away.
Well, I mean, I think I've shared on here that in the workplace, I've been adding more SUSE products to what we're doing there, and they've been a great company to work with as far as like support. And if you compare them to like Microsoft or VMware, or I guess Broadcom, they are tip top. I mean, the best, as in they respond to emails and they actually help you through a problem. And they train you on how to use their stuff too. Like they actually take the time to help you understand. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah. So 20 years of openSUSE, and I'm only have a almost unhealthy obsession. So I know that Eric, you said you are more of an apt Debian guy.
Mm-hmm.
So are you at all excited about Debian 13? Trixie, as it's called?
Well, Debian is the mothership, right? I mean, they're the wellspring from which all other things come. So, yeah, I don't tend to use Debian directly. I mean, I use some distros that are based off of Debian, but I don't tend to use it directly. I mean, my first experience with Linux, where I was using it for a server, was Debian. At that point in time, early 2000s, Debian was amazing, and it still is amazing. But I'm saying back then it was one of the few that I was able to just pick up as a novice and get running. And I had a file server, I had some network services running on it, and that box ran, I want to say, for 6 years. And this was just an old, throwaway desktop that it was on, and it would chugged along and served probably 50 people in an office for about 6 years, and like never ever had a problem. I mean, it just it was like unnerving how stable it was compared to the Windows crap I was using. So I have a great respect and deep abiding affection for Debian, and the fact that it still continues and has been around so long. And I understand apt. I understand the packaging and the systems, the way they're set up, and Ubuntu obviously adds a lot of stuff to that, but fundamentally, it's still there. So anyway, sorry, didn't mean to go on like that.
No, actually that's the whole idea. I want you to go on like that.
So yes, I am interested in Trixie. I think again, they do move sort of glacially slow, but of course that's by design. We don't need it to go any faster. And the improvements they've made recently were, in the last several years, where they've included closed source things and blobs and things that they would have never in the past to make it easier for normal people to use. And they support basically as much hardware as any other distro at this point. It just might take a little. You might have to find the right distro, the right disk, the ISO to download. But
yeah.
But and their website has gotten a little better. I mean, it used to be like a game to try to find the right thing.
It's still a little bit like that, to be honest. But yeah, they've made it a little bit better, I must say.
You go to Debian.org, and definitely compared to something like openSUSE or Fedora, like that's Debian. Something that looks 20 years old, that's Debian.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like that's what they do, and it's great.
Eric, I got a client. They have a staging server that's Debian 10. Okay.
Nice.
Still running.
Oh yeah.
And after, I was trying to remember what year, I think they stood it up in 2019 or something like that. And after the few kernel updates, when they stopped supporting updates when 11 came out, that thing is just ran nonstop. I mean, they've never even rebooted it since then. I mean, and the IT guy who runs their IT department, he's kept it up just to see how long it will run before something happens, you know. And I thought that was really interesting. So,
Yeah, I had an insane uptime of like well over a year. And it was just like bananas. Like that, I'm telling you, it was like bulletproof. And
yeah,
uh, and and that's what was great is like after coming from Windows NT in 2000 and all that stuff, where everything was this hideous GUI, right? And I had to like find all these stupid settings and options that were buried through menus and all this. It was so liberating to have just this more condensed, uh, text only interface that, was just did what I told it to do. And there weren't any hidden gotchas or anything. It was just really straightforward. And, running a file server was just like Adam had said, I mean, the performance of that file server compared to like an NT file server
right.
was ridiculous. It was so much, it would much fewer resources than one of the big server boxes, yet was, ran faster, better, more secure. It just, the backup was easier. Like everything about it was just a pleasure to use. And that's what got me hooked on Linux, not desktop Linux, because I had to use Office and some proprietary stuff that I couldn't use on a desktop. So it took me years to get around to running a desktop, but I love Debian on a server.
You
And
know,
so,
go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just going to say,
no, please.
I know a couple of people that have launched Bitnami images on AWS for WordPress sites. And of course, it runs Debian,
Hmm.
and it's just so funny because, like you said, I mean, these sites that they're never rebooted. They're just they just run, and
Yeah.
it's hilarious. And the thing will run on like a micro instance. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah.
And so it's running MySQL, Apache, and PHP on a 2 gig of RAM machine. So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. And again, for them to just keep, you know, doing what they do, I think I have great respect for that. And Miguel had actually said something in the comments where they apparently 13 was something maybe they're gonna uh, the slowness part of development, maybe speeding up. I don't know what that meant, but I'll have to look. Um, but yeah, Dawn mentions Debian supporting more architectures, which is absolutely true. They support a ton of stuff. Um, yeah. The one thing that I think turns people off on Debian, and this really isn't their fault because they tend to just take a vanilla package, right? They take the package or they take the project, whatever that is, and then package it, right? And so something like a Cinnamon desktop, and they just worked on this, so it's not as bad as it used to be. If you just you know, install the default Cinnamon desktop or XFCE, something like that, like it was whatever the default is that comes with it. So no distro had like tweaked it or improved it, and was usually not a great experience because a
Not
lot of
really,
this,
no.
yeah. So I think that's what turns a lot of people off is that Debian doesn't, and by design, of course, like of course they don't,
Yeah.
change anything. That's the whole point. So
Which is a good thing now that Cinnamon, or is it yeah, whoever's running Cinnamon, which is Mint, I think. Yeah, well, obviously Mint. They have made those changes now for a more better looking default desktop.
yes,
Yes, so
yeah, I
that
think that
that
was
is
22.2 maybe. I think they did. I'm not sure
yeah,
which
I
one it
think so.
was.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's good news, which gives people who do install the Cinnamon desktop with Debian will probably have a better experience
Oh,
with a
certainly.
better looking, yeah, with something a little bit more pleasing out by default to start with, which is always something you need because Cinnamon you know, by default can be ugly, but also if it's been tweaked, it can look really nice. So it goes from one extreme to the other, to be honest. Yeah.
Yep. Instead of something that's heavily tweaked, like, you know, the same Manjaro desktop, like all of their DEs are like way crazy, you know,
Yeah.
pre-configured versus, you know, something like Arch or Debian. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Hey, let me ask, how many people here are running Linux in production as a server?
Several. I mean, every server I run.
Okay.
I mean, they're not mine, but we have production Linux servers at work.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
I mean, I have my own servers, but I don't call them production.
right.
That's a good point. Yeah, nothing. Well, no, because clients are paying me to host their sites.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it is production, and I'm using Ubuntu, which is, you know, it's and funny we mentioned snaps because I had been talking to Don McLean in the chat. Like snaps on the server are, to me, that's the whole point. Like that's where they were born.
I agree.
That's what they do. Like if you want to install a lamp stack or you know, I mean, any kind of like Nextcloud, you know, like it, just do a snap on the Ubuntu server, and it's, you know, very easy to deploy. I mean,
So
obviously,
you're still using it graphically, or you
No.
use it by
no,
command line?
never SSH. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's really not. You know, I mean, you can. I remember running. I don't remember what kind of server it was, and I think I might have done that when I first started with Debian because I was like, "Well, what do you mean there's no UI?" Like, I'm just used to that. Like, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I mean, and honestly, most of the stuff you're doing on servers, if it's Linux based, the assumption is that you're doing it headless,
Right.
anyway. So
Right. So that just gives you the convenience of installing things if it's
yeah,
not
and
available.
if you
And
need a lot of times if you're doing orchestration type stuff, like if you're managing the server remotely or you're, you know, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of management type stuff, orchestration type stuff that might be a GUI where it's connecting to the server, you know, via SSH or some secure method, and
right.
you can, and so people will use a GUI like that. What's the one that Red Hat uses? Copilot? I think that's it, something like
Cockpit.
that. Cockpit. Thank you. There you go. So Cockpit
Yes.
is a web GUI where you're, you know, you can manage all the different facets of a server, but you're doing it through a GUI, but you're not doing it on the server itself. You're doing it as a
Right.
remote management type thing.
And the
What's
thing
the
is,
one,
they have
Webmin?
even better products for the enterprise than that replace Cockpit.
Oh, sure. I mean,
Red Hat Insights is a pretty good one. Obviously, Satellite has its own stuff.
listen, I know you're
Yeah.
rocking Webmin.
Oh, yeah. PHP my admin all day. You know me.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah. Real team of professionals there, right?
Real talk.
Yeah, I think managing servers is pretty flexible these days, and things like Cockpit are nice, but I don't know.
They're just unnecessary, honestly, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think with infrastructure as code and configuration management stuff, you don't really need a GUI for those things, and you're probably going to be collecting metrics some other way, even if it's something like just net data or setting up a simple like Grafana Prometheus thing. If you have any amount of things to monitor, if it's just one box at home, yeah, whatever, throw Cockpit on it. But you get more than 3 or 4 boxes, you suddenly need a better solution.
Yeah. And anything you're doing that's enterprise level in a production system, you're going to want to put.
I would even argue small business is kind of outgrown than like those types of things.
Yeah. Well, those types of tools are way more accessible now than they used to be. That's for sure. I mean, in terms of pricing as well, like if you do have to go with something that's proprietary or licensed, you know, some of that stuff used to be just like eye-wateringly expensive. So
Yeah, a lot more competition in that space now.
yeah.
What amazes me is I run across businesses that are running Linux servers, and I'd say at least half of them have rolled their own administrative tools, which is kind of wild, with what's out there.
Mm.
Well, I think
Yeah, they built a bunch of bash scripts and put them on a menu and
well
so
with I think with a lot of the frameworks that are out there and like the the toolkits and stuff like that, you can kind of patch together a fairly usable solution. It's probably not something you want to use long term, maybe in
right.
terms of standards, but you can, yeah, you can. If you don't have much of a budget, there's a lot you can still do. So,
Yeah,
Just gotta be careful because security is still a thing.
yep.
That's it. That's my. Someone says, "What do you think about security?"
Yeah.
And then
So
they just shake their head and
I've heard
walk
of
away.
I've heard of Cockpit, but what actually is that an AI thing or is that something to do with servers
Where a pilot sits
specifically?
in a plane?
Ah. What do you use Cockpit for?
It's really just it's a way to look at the hardware and software environment on a server, and then you can kind of
Oh,
provision different things and
oh, okay.
look at the disks, the partitions,
Yeah,
and
it's like a web-based interface into like a server or machine. It doesn't have to be a server, but it could be a desktop if you really wanted to. Just a way to remotely like check things and interact with the thing through a web
Oh, okay.
interface instead of having to SSH and run a bunch of commands, right?
Okay.
yeah,
I'm
and
not
it's
much of a server
One
person, so
And you could run it on like a virtual machine on your desktop or
have you
something,
used
or
Virt Manager, Colin?
yeah, I use QEMU.
QEMU?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
use Virtual Machine Manager. Yeah.
Okay, so if you
I
use
used to be a
VirtMan,
VirtualBox person.
if you go into VirtMan and you're looking at the machine details, like, and it shows you each piece of hardware as a separate like item, and then like so you've got your disks and your network interfaces and your memory and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's very similar to something like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. All
Hmm.
right. So congratulations to Debian 13 Trixie will be released. Excellent. So Linux desktop reaches 5% desktop market share in the United States specifically, which I think that's
Right.
very specific. But sure, why not? I think they've stated in many cases that this is what Steam OS, Steam Decks. This is you know driven a lot by like interest in gaming, and also don't forget the Windows 10 end of life that's coming up,
Yep.
which isn't like a dire like your computer's going to explode. And to be honest, most normies will just ignore the messages for
Yeah.
as long as they can.
it's like Y2K,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's not the like Armageddon that people are making it out to be, but for people who care, I guess, obviously it's a little offensive if you have a machine that, granted, I mean, an eighth gen at this point is still fairly long in the tooth for like a business or something, but for a home user or that computer that you only use once in a while, then for them to say, well, sorry, it's no longer supported and your only option if you want to keep running Windows is to go buy something else. So I think there's this somewhat of a fallacy, but this idea that, and I don't even want to say what I'm thinking because everyone knows what I'm thinking about the year of the blah blah. But yeah, I think it definitely, listen, 5%, right? You say that as though it's like, well, 5% doesn't sound like a lot, and it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not something that's going to change a lot of minds in terms of like where software development dollars are spent and stuff like that. Maybe specifically in the gaming world. But I mean, I thought it was interesting that Valve just decided that for Steam, they're going to turn on Proton by default, which I think was a pretty interesting decision.
Should have done
So
that a while ago, to be honest.
I agree. I couldn't believe the last time I went in and installed Steam and had to enable it. It's like you made that harder than it needed to be. But anyway, so yeah,
Well,
I
I
mean,
don't game, and I didn't know that Proton was not on by default either. It makes sense that it would be. Thought
So
that was the whole idea.
yeah, it's only on. It was only enabled for like by default for a few titles, and then there's a
Right.
separate setting in the settings that says like enable it for all titles.
Mm-hmm.
And because like in the past there were sort of a white list of sorts of games that were approved by Valve to work properly, and then there were games that were not on that list but totally worked. And now that Proton's pretty well developed to the point where it's probably gonna work, and just turn it on. And so they
mean,
turn it
we're
on by default now.
yeah,
what, 7 years into Proton being a thing now?
yeah. Yeah, and the momentum it's gained from the Steam Deck adoption, just the interest in that and the fact that so many people have bought into that, uh, to the point where other manufacturers are building their own sort of knockoffs of that, and Windows is, creating a version to run like Steam Deck does or Steam OS. So it's obviously important enough that it's shaping decisions being made around gaming again, specifically. But outside of that, are we going to see computers in Best Buy or Walmart or wherever with Linux on them anytime soon? I really doubt it.
No,
It's
not going to happen.
it's
I
not
don't think.
Not unless you
impossible
want a
to,
Chromebook.
yeah, well, I mean, it's not impossible to imagine it, but it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be a big thing. But the last thing that the author of this article says is Linux own evolution, and I agree with that. I think that anyone who's used Linux for a long enough time has seen just how much easier it is to, not only install, which you only technically do one time for a normal person that isn't distro hopping, but outside of that, just what it takes to keep it running, which I think a lot of people would argue, myself included, that it's easier than dealing with Windows Update or, updating individual programs on Windows. Having that package manager makes things so much easier for normal people. And just the stability of it, the fact that it runs so well on hardware that doesn't run great on Windows, even if it is supported. So, I mean, I know of myself, I bought a Dell Latitude 8th gen, um, and I think it's a 5290 2-in-1. Um, it came with Windows 10, and I upgraded it to Windows 11, and I have that partition still there. And the one advantage to running that is that it has hardware that only works on Windows. But, I don't care enough. And honestly, it runs so much worse on Windows 11 than it does on anything Linux based that I've put on it. So, but I can't expect normal people to do that. I just don't see that happening. So 5%, hey, that's great. I'm happy to see it, and may it continue, and hopefully more funding and yada yada and all that is good for everybody. But I also think that I don't know that Linux is ever meant to be a dominant, desktop environment or desktop operating system. I think kind of the point is that it is a little bit niche. It is a little bit, either
It's
scientific
very
based.
niche.
Well, it's there's science community uses it. There's governments. I think it's interesting to see the EU. There's a lot of countries that are sort of, I think, looking at Linux more so to get away from Microsoft than it is because necessarily that Linux and open source is the better choice. But again, it's a choice that isn't Microsoft. So,
The one thing Linux has got against it is the fact that you've got all these different bases, different desktop environments. I mean, just that alone is a confusing thing for anyone who's just used to getting a Windows. Now, it doesn't matter which Windows you run. You can go back to the 90s. You can go forward to the 2025, it'll be similar in the way that it runs. Everybody knows where the menu is, where to get to things, how to install things. Whereas Linux is completely different to that. I think you really need to make a conscious decision that you do have the desire to run something different and get to know it, right? I mean, and Linux is one of those things where you go down the rabbit hole. You know, I was watching some woman last night. She installed Fedora 42 and she started off with Linux Mint. She's a Mac user and she's now moved on to Fedora. And you know, it's funny. She was running, it was Fedora with the GNOME desktop, had a tour, and she said, "Oh, even Fedora gives me a nice little tour." And I did make a comment saying that's not Fedora that did that. That's the GNOME desktop that did the tour, not Fedora specifically, right? So
Yeah.
these are the things that people don't understand, right? So if you've heard of it, you've read about it, you made a conscious decision, you want to try it, and you're going to have to spend a bit of time to get to know it,
Yeah.
to get to know the different desktop environments and which one suits you. These are the things that people just don't want to do. They just want to go to a shop, buy a computer, there it is, it's on there, bang, I'll put my name and password in there and off I go, right? Or even these days, just your email address, right? Which is what Windows does now, isn't it? Just email address
Yeah.
and in you go, right? So
Yep.
it's easy
Yeah.
for most people, right?
Yeah, the video, and I've been following her because her first one was with Mint, and it's her channel Switch and Click, and
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, switch and click. Yeah,
yeah, so she's interesting because like the I don't it showed me, so her first video was about installing Mint, and like she just took a system and did her best to educate herself on like what was
yeah,
available and landed on Mint, and then but she arrived at these like really interesting conclusions based on stuff she had read, and one of them was that the command line, apt-based package manager was disconnected somehow from, the software store. And so she didn't want to use or install software through the package manager, the graphical package manager, because she thought then it wouldn't be updated properly. So
right.
and it was just
Yeah,
like some
yeah, that's
weird takeaway that she must have had from who knows where, right? And
yeah,
it showed me like, there's so much stuff out there, not only just the breadth of it, but the depth in terms of like going back in time, and you find answers for things that is so far out of date. I mean, you're talking there's stuff, still on on forums and everywhere else that's 10 years old
yeah,
that doesn't even apply anymore, but still out there, and I'm just as guilty. Some of my videos are so outdated, but I still
yeah,
have stuff that I still get, comments where it does work, which surprises me. But yeah, it's interesting to see as a novice, like what the friction points, like the pain points she came upon.
yeah,
Um, but the truth is that for someone like her, and also Jay-Z 2 Cents and PewDiePie and like all these like YouTubers and people that I'm seeing, is that they're not failing like they used to, right? I would
yeah.
watch those videos and expect them to be like, well, it didn't work, or they come up against some insurmountable problem, and that's not what I'm seeing anymore. I'm seeing people go, oh, okay, that wasn't bad.
Yeah,
So
they're still having issue. I mean, she was on Fedora 42, right? That's her last video. And what did she do? Sudo apt install a package, right?
well, because that's what she used on
On
you know,
Mint.
on
Yes.
Mint. And so
Yeah.
how would she know it's different, right? And so I thought that was really, really funny because it's absolutely
Yeah.
true. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know any better. So
But that's how convoluted Linux can be, right? There's so many, well, I don't know if convoluted is the right word, but it differs so much from base to desktop environment that it does get very confusing, right? It really blurs the lines, which makes it hard for anyone to come over, because people who use Windows, they just know it'll. This is where the menu will be. This is where I can find stuff. All I've got to do is download a .exe file. Done deal, right?
yeah,
It's easy. Whereas I think, to be honest, Linux is a lot better when it comes to installing things because you've got package managers. you don't have to go looking through the internet for a .exe file and come across these nefarious websites that, you know, may put some nasties on your computer or whatever. I mean, it makes it so much easier to have a package manager, which you would think Windows would have done by now. I think they do have one, but
Indeed, they do.
I don't know. They do, but I don't know how well it works.
Very well.
Yeah.
Does it? Okay.
Mm.
Haven't tried it for a
Winget.
while.
Is that what you were talking about? Is Winget?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little slow. So when I used it last, like I had, I don't know, 10 updates. I do this thing, I don't know why, like every 6 to 8 months or so, I'll boot into my Windows partition and update everything, like run all the Windows updates and all the
Yeah.
Winget stuff. I don't know why. It's just a masochistic thing I like to do to myself, like self-flagellation or something. Anyway, and yeah, Winget, or what is it called? It's not Winget anymore. It's like something else now.
Oh, that's
Oh,
still
no, it's
Winget.
Windows Store.
Yeah, it's still Winget.
Huh?
Is it? I thought they
Is it?
renamed it to something else.
Store? I
Didn't
thought
it
it
used
was
to be
Windows
something
Store or
else, and maybe they
something.
named it Winget? I don't. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
And it actually integrates pretty well with the Windows Store. Like it's
Yep.
the same thing.
Oh, right.
hmm
Well,
Yeah, because
For-
one of the Windows, because the Windows Store is one of the sources that it can pull from.
right, but you know that's presuming you're installing things from the Windows Store.
Well, you know, we were kind of talking about this last week a little bit, and it's funny because Linux is its own worst enemy when it comes to the desktop. And what I mean by that is the very thing that makes it so incredible is the thing that average person does not want nor need.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
but I think that
That's
speaks to it's the base, right? Like who are they building this for? And I don't,
Right.
even though it's easy to use and you can give it to a non-technical person and they can, I think for by and large, for the most part, something like Ubuntu or Mint or, you know,
Right.
something that has a kind of a point release. And if you put them on an LTS with auto update, you know, like there's not a lot for them to do. And if they're just using a browser and know how to use files and stuff like, I mean, it's
Well, I
most
mean, someone who doesn't know anything about computers, they're overwhelmed to begin with by first, what is a distro and which one should I pick?
and I agree with that. I think
And
that's,
then after that, what's a desktop and which one should I pick? You know?
yeah, and I think that's why you can't this is something that I learned as a young, optimistic, like energized IT professional in my early 20s. When someone would call me, and because I ran the office in terms of like all the equipment in the office and stuff. So when they had a problem, I would go, and instead of just fixing it, I would want to explain it to them because I
Right.
figure, well, don't they want to know how to fix it? And literally, I had one of my friends pulling me aside one day, and he's like, "They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't understand. They
Eric,
don't understand what you're saying. They
That's
don't
right.
Yeah.
care."
how many people's
That's
eyes
right.
glazing over did that have to happen before
Yeah,
they realized
I've-
that?
Hey man,
I've
I
fallen
didn't
in that
care.
trap too, to be honest.
I
have
thought I
really
was
fallen in
spreading
that trap.
knowledge, man. I was empowering people, right?
That's hilarious.
I know I've been
Yeah.
there in the same boat myself. I've done that.
I
I
was
know.
teaching a man to fish.
Yeah,
Right?
I've
You know?
done the same thing. I've got family that are running Linux, and they've actually asked me to put it on, so that's fine. I'm happy to do that. I just say, there's the menu, there's package manager. This is how you update it. Make sure you do that. Just make sure that they know how to update it. See that little thing that comes up? If it's red or whatever, it means it needs updating. Click on it, click OK, done. That's all you need to worry about. As long as they know where the menu is. And I don't hear from them.
I really wish someone would target that audience too. It's like a beginner distro, you know?
I think Zorin does a fairly good job of that. I mean, it's not a well-known one, but I think in terms of like their, you know, experience is very sort of like just pick the layout you like and then just use your computer the way you normally would. They don't tend to throw a lot of, you know, technical questions at people. So, you know,
Right.
Mint isn't terrible at that. I mean, I think they kind of, yes, there's still the desktop choice, but I think if you just went with like download Mint, and just don't think about Mate or XFC or LXD or yeah.
I would say
The thing with
that does exist. It's called Chrome OS.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
I have a friend that he always makes a joke. He's like, the only way that Linux is ever going to even get close to Windows on the desktop is if they quit asking people how to set up a partition.
Yeah.
Windows
I
asks
just,
you to do
again,
that. If you go to install
but
Windows,
no one installs Windows though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it comes on the machine.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
the
think
problem. People don't know how to install because once their Windows is out of date, they go and buy a new computer. Right?
I think Linux
that's
is
the
like
problem.
Linux is like my enthusiasm as a 20-something. Like
right.
it is us saying, "Hey guys, you got to check this out. This is amazing. Like it's gonna turn your computer into something totally incredible. You can change everything." And we're like all excited about it. And they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like I turn on my computer, I use it. I don't care. I don't want to know. Like it just does. It's like me explaining how to change your oil or something. Like nobody wants to do that. So, and I think that's fine. So again, until Linux is on a computer when they buy it, or someone does it for them, they're never going to use it. And frankly, this concept of like Linux has to have a more large market share, I think is kind of silly. Like it does fine where it is now. Those who want it and understand it and want it to be something, want to use their computer in a more, hands-on way, they're going to find it.
Yeah.
And when they do,
Depends on your
yeah.
It depends on your Windows experience. I mean, I'm on Linux from a Windows experience, right? So I had a Windows Home Edition XP, I think it was, and I think it was XP. I can't remember. And I was messing around with the file systems, and it used to get slow. I'd reinstall it, and then it got to the point where I had to ring up and get a code or a key to put in, and then it got to the point where it says you cannot install this anymore. Right? So I bought this thing, and then it says you can't install it anymore because you've installed it too many times. Right? I got really annoyed, and I went to a computer shop and asked the guy to install it, and I said, "Is there any other operating systems around?" He said, "There's this thing called Linux." Right? I went on I was just fixated on finding out what this Linux thing was. Somebody sent me some disks. And it all started from there, right? And I thought, I eventually got one up and running, Red Hat, and I thought, it's got Windows. It opens up with these windows and whatever, so it's a little bit similar. But from there on, it became a passion, right? Because I thought to myself, why are you telling me I can't use this when I bought it and I can't use it now because I've installed it too many times? That's just ridiculous, right? And that's what gave me the passion to find something else, and I've come so far with Linux, but that was the reason why I'm on here. And you might find there's other people who come to Linux for those reasons. Those little things that happen in life that push you in another direction, but it's because they're there because they want to be, not because they don't. They want to learn. They're there because they want to be, right? That's the reason, I think for most people.
But, well, okay. So this is something that fascinates me because as an IT professional, like I spent my career working in or around computers. That was just what I did. I came home and did it as a hobby with gaming and other stuff. And like, then I found Linux and I got into all that. But that made sense because it was already something that was familiar to me. Whereas I feel like when I meet someone like you, or a lot of other people that have no, technical background necessarily with computers.
No, I've got none.
And they have this like fascination with Linux. It always just like makes me scratch my head because it's not to say that you couldn't, or that it's so strange that you would be interested in it, but there seems to be a certain level like fervor for like, what's new, what's different. I want to go out and discover and do these different things, and it's like a playground. And I find that fascinating. It just that, someone would hook into that, and I think it's great. But you represent, I think, a smaller percentage of where, like, again, the average Ubuntu user, I think, is someone, in the education, scientific, in fields where it's just like, this is the standard for that company. They've rolled out Ubuntu desktops, and it's just random people who don't care about the system. They just want to get done what they need to get done. And,
Yeah, I
those
think, I'll give you another reason. Sorry to interrupt.
No, please, you're not interrupting.
Yeah, I'll give you another reason. Like today, people are struggling financially, probably on the worldwide. And once Windows starts saying, you can't update, or you need to, you can't, Windows 11 won't work on this computer, or whatever, people may be forced into looking for alternatives because they don't want to go out and buy a computer because they probably can't afford it, right? So that may be another reason today why people have jumped on board, because it has gone up, especially in America, slightly. So they may be other reasons, because people are saying, I'm not buying another computer. I can't afford another one, right? So that may be, it's amazing. Situations in life can lead you in directions that you never thought that you'd go in, right? So that's me, and that could be a lot of other people too. Maybe today, I don't know, but just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it anyway.
Yep. And I think that'll always be the case. And I think that we'll always be in that single digit, user, saturation. And that's fine. That's still millions and millions of people, right? It's not, it represents a lot of people. So
my only comment about trying to drive more implementations of it is, once you start gaining on the desktop, then you start getting companies that want to buy into the platform. I've been in this business almost 45 years, and you've got to have that for something to truly succeed. What saved Linux is open source. Having the array of open source applications are available. Because if it wasn't for open source, then it probably wouldn't exist, because there just hadn't been any real buy-in on it, except maybe at the enterprise level on some things.
I credit open source and Linux by extension as being the muse for a lot of people to get into development, because they have an itch they want to scratch. If you're trying to change something about your desktop, or if you're trying to make something work, or you're on a server, I feel like there's a certain amount of knowledge you gain by running either Linux on a server or a desktop that leads you to wanting to do more. And so it's a small community, but I think it's a very powerful user base, right? That 5% represents some extremely talented, smart people, right? I mean, these are the people you want using it.
By the way, I'm not arguing the point. I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying the motivation for wanting more desktops out there is to get more buy-in. So.
I guess I think organically things grow. There's no marketing, right? I mean, there's no company yelling about it and putting it in front of people's faces, and why would they? What's the point? There's no payoff, right? So,
what's your biggest store over in the US? Is it what do you call it? Best Buy? Is it Best Buy,
Best Buy.
or
Best Buy.
or something like that?
There's others, but Best Buy is nationwide.
Best Buy. I open a little store, a Linux store next to Best Buy. I can install this operating system for cheap, much cheaper than a new computer. I don't know whether that would take off or whatever, but I mean, if there's an opportunity for someone to put it on there, and once the word gets out, then you never know. It could be.
I think if I had a small PC repair business, or a customer service type business, that if I was in the right situation, I might recommend it to someone. If they brought their Windows 10 PC to me and said, why am I getting these messages? And you just sort of explain, Windows 10 is not going to be supported, and either you get a new computer, or if you want, you know,
If you
I
you
can,
got this other alternative
Yeah.
that we can
Yeah.
offer.
but that would be as a service, and that's where the money behind open source is anyway, right? You're offering
Yeah.
things as a service. So I would be,
Yeah.
my service would be introducing them and then converting them if that's what they want.
Sure.
Have a little pool out back where I dunk their head under the water. And so anyway,
Just to change the subject slightly,
ahead.
did you read that ClearOS is calling it quits? That's the Intel
Yep.
GNOME desktop that's run by Intel. They're calling it quits. Yeah.
I think Mike, you told me that, right? In the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Does anybody
Did
have
they
an
have
article on
much
that?
adoption though?
Oh,
there
they
was
reckon it
adoption.
used to. I've tried it. It runs really quick on Intel stuff because it's actually tweaked to run on Intel.
It's super
hardware.
stable and super smooth too. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Phoronix article. There's a Tom's Hardware. Yeah, there's different. You want the Phoronix link?
I'll take whatever.
I
Okay,
think, yeah, I think that's the one I sent you.
you got it.
But
But
yeah.
I mean, did
So-
anyone? I mean,
I-
were you guys using it? I mean, I remember trying it years ago, but like I didn't.
Yeah, I tried it years ago, but I wasn't using it.
Yeah.
I have clients, 2 clients that have been using it.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's an option if you're using Microsoft's cloud. I think that's one of the options to install for a Linux server.
Gee, couldn't they just have AI build it for them? I'm kidding.
Says that they are. Rest assured, Intel remains deeply invested in the Linux ecosystem, actively supporting and contribute to various open source projects and Linux distributions, but they just don't want to do their own.
It's a pretty vertical distribution, but it works well in its space. It works very well, as a matter of fact. And the way it does package management is a little bit different. And it actually makes it where even with the kernel, it can do a kernel swap hot without having to reboot it.
Yeah, I kind of get that there's probably going to be a small base of people who are pretty passionate about it, but by
Yeah.
and large, Intel probably just said, you know what, there's no benefit for us to do it, so
Right. It's a shame because there's some good technology in it, that could probably be used in some other distros.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, chances are they're probably going to be putting those efforts in other areas that are also Linux related. My guess is there just wasn't a valid business reason to continue doing it. Is my guess.
They
That's
just probably didn't have the adoption they thought they would.
yeah. That's my guess anyway. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor.
I just play one on TV.
That's right, on YouTube.
So the next story was a little surprising to me. You wanna do that, Nate? Or?
So Brave now has 59% as many users as Firefox worldwide. So whatever Firefox has, Brave has 59% of that. That's pretty impressive.
I guess I don't
Personally,
understand why.
I don't really either.
Yeah.
I like the picture they use for the article on there, the fosspost.org. It's kind of funny. Someone wants to look at that article. It's
I'm looking at it.
har 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 har. Anyway, so Brave is a privacy-focused web browser based on the Chromium browser, which places it in the same family of browsers as Google Chrome, Edge, Vivaldi. Brave is open source and available for free. It was founded by the JavaScript creator Brendan Eich.
Probably Ike. I think it might be Ike. Yeah.
Let's go with Ike. At the end of 2015, following a drama storm that ousted him from a position at Mozilla CEO. Oh, there we go. That's why. So he's pointed. Anyway, so it's an alternative to Firefox. Its main aim is users' privacy, they do some things that I'm not really crazy about when it comes to like how they block ads and how they can swap in ads as an alternative ad. So I don't know, just some weird stuff there. But the fact that they got 59% of the share that Firefox has is pretty significant. You know, I hear like non-tech related streams that I've watched. I've heard people mention Brave browser many times, so that does seem, you know, it's at least in the zeitgeist, I guess, outside of the total nerdy communities. So I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I think Mozilla's done a pretty good job of having numerous failures, so I think that's something for sure. And it is steadily on the decline, it looks like, although I think it's kind of plateaued at this point. So I don't know.
There was a feed that came up because I still use google.com.au as my homepage, and now gives you a lot of feeds based on what you read and stuff. There was one that came up, Firefox versus Brave, and it's done by Firefox, and they were talking about all the maybe I'll put the link in chat. I'll get you to have a look at it. It's quite interesting. Let's do that.
This is just an aside, but looking at the different browsers, looks like the one that's really taken a hit is Safari. Which is understandable because Safari is kind of a neutered neutered web browser. It's not very good. It's actually kind of
it's pretty bad.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
I mean, I would.
So they're saying Brave's. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're saying Braves.
Brave's default ad blocking may break the websites you visit, so you have to keep fiddling with it. We want privacy to be convenient enough that you'll actually use it. Firefox makes it easy for you to choose which search engine you want to use every time you search. Brave defaults to their own search engine, so they're just going through the things that Firefox is better at than what Brave is.
Yeah, and I think that probably one of the things that could be Brave, I think, advertises, which Firefox really doesn't, that I'm aware of. And secondly, the fact that they focus on like the user experience by including ad blocking and these other things as the default, whereas Firefox is pretty much, you know, a blank canvas, so to speak. I mean, there's not really a lot of stuff enabled by default. You know, there's some security stuff built in, but it's not really like locked down. And Brave has sort of gives this curated experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that could be part of what appeals to people is you got to figure if someone's had a problem with, like, let's say they got scammed, or there's like some reason for them to care about privacy more than like most normal people, you know, just couldn't care less. They might go looking for, like, you know, alternative to Chrome or something. And if Brave is advertising in the search engine results, then they're going to come up up in the fold or up in the top results. And, you know, they're probably going to see them more than they're going to see Firefox. And then also if they happen to try Firefox, I think they're going to just be maybe underwhelmed, because there just really isn't like I mean, you install Firefox, there isn't like hey, check out how cool Firefox is and like all the really neat stuff we've got built in, and like you can do this and that, and it's just, and I feel like Brave is way more focused on that, like pulling a user in. Like, I don't know, someone like me, when I used it and I found out that they had the cryptocurrency stuff, I was just like, see ya. Like,
oh, right, okay.
No interest.
But Firefox does have like a welcome thing where you go through these steps of. I've never really been through the steps. I just skip because I just want to.
It's literally import your previous browsing history and stuff from your browser.
Firefox sync.
Sync. Here's some go click here to see some extensions that are recommended, which, you know, again, a normal user is gonna be like, what the hell is an extension? And so yeah, there is an onboard, but it's a real weak onboard compared to, you know, again, it's something more
I think
focused.
Firefox Sync is one of the best things.
Yep.
I mean, it syncs really well between desktop and phone.
Yep.
So I use Firefox on the phone as well, and never have any problems with that. And you always got the things that you need on either device. It's really cool.
So
Dawn-
I think where Firefox falls short is they don't talk about the features that are really cool. And maybe you can do this with Chrome and Edge. I don't know. But sometimes I'm looking at an article on my phone and I'm like, I'm going to look at this on my computer. I can just send it to whatever computer is synced up. Like I have the sync going with, you know, with Firefox Sync. And so I can send the tab to basically a computer of my choosing. And that's a really cool feature. And if you can do that in Chrome, I don't know. I haven't seen it. And the fact that it's apart from any other corporation, not that Mozilla is a perfect company either, or the foundation or whatever. They've got their skeletons and whatnot too, but it's at least something separate from Google and Microsoft. And I don't know that there's an alternative right now that has that. But the problem with Firefox is they don't, or those at the helm of Firefox is they're not touting these features that are actually really very useful and excellent. So there's a bunch of other stuff, like there are a lot of things I can only do in Firefox in my workplace. I cannot replicate it in Chrome effectively. And so there are certain use cases for where I have a specific Firefox profile set up for doing specific functions for sysadmin activities. So, and I can't do it in Chrome and even another Chrome profile. So I have to say there are some compelling reasons to use Firefox. They're just doing a terrible job of advertising themselves.
I know this is really dumb, but alphabetically.
That's a good segue for me.
Well,
this is really dumb, Nathan.
So Brave is alphabetically first. And like when there's a list of, I'm not kidding. Like that's possible that it's like it gets a couple more clicks because of that. Also, if you search for secure web browser, number one hit on Google, Brave.
Is that right?
Yeah. I just think, you know,
Wow.
Mozilla just doesn't do themselves any favors. Like they don't optimize. They don't optimize for SEO type stuff. They don't, you know, get themselves into the conversation. Like they just, you know, and I had to laugh because Don Lackland says, if you didn't look at the article that we've been referencing, there's a picture of a house on fire with the Mozilla logo or Firefox logo over it. And Dawn says that image is wrong. Firefox is lighting money on fire, not houses. And that they do. That they do.
So Anna Reader uses LibreWolf.
Right, which is Firefox.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, which is Firefox, but what must be stripped out a few things, I'd say.
I don't know. I think the whole Firefox thing just kind of makes me sad because it's like they have a great product. They could do so much more with it. They're just, I don't know. They're just maybe they're just not doing.
I use Chromium and Firefox both, and there's some things that each of them do better, you know.
Yep.
And so it is what it is. But
yeah, I mean, it used to be the joke that Internet Explorer was what you used to install another browser.
Exactly.
And and now it's Edge, but seriously, I mean, it used to be the other browser was Firefox. I mean, everybody knew that Firefox was the best browser until they just got worse and worse and worse, and then they reinvented themselves with Quantum, and it did get a little better, but then that meant all the old extensions didn't work, and like it's been messy. And then instead of focusing on the browser, it just feels like they're, you know, just throwing stuff at the walls trying to see if it would stick. And it's a terrible position to be in. Like they make their money by having the search engine as the default, like
right.
And you know, I think it's
Google
funny that
Chrome.
they only
Google?
make half $500 million a year, so they make like 500 million, but like Apple makes like 4 billion for doing the same thing. But
Yeah.
granted, I guess there's more Mac desktops out there or whatever, but it's crazy to think that like it's just legal for Google to be like, hey, we're gonna pay you to be number one or to be the default.
I think a lot of it's, they've had leadership changes over the last 6 or 7 years, several times at Mozilla,
Yeah.
and they just can't seem to find a leader that'll push them in the right direction.
I think
Yeah, I agree with that.
this new person, I think because they're a developer, I kind of feel like I have some faith that maybe they're going to focus on, because I mean, they just came out with performance statistics and like they're falling behind in like,
Yeah.
web rendering performance, and like the fundamentals are just their foundations crumbling. And like you can't it's just so like Linux at this point, right? I mean, there's such a small percentage of the browser market, and I don't see a world the opportunity they took advantage of was that Internet Explorer was terrible, right? And they came in as the single alternative to that at that point. And then they had the lion's share of the desktop browsing market. And then Chrome came in and ate their lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And, and at the time, I remember Chrome being a breath of fresh air because it was so fast, and so like it just it was simple,
True.
fast, straightforward. And even
Yep.
I, at that point ditched Firefox, and it took me 5 years to come back, probably, maybe
But
longer.
not only that, there was some things that Chrome did better than Firefox because there was printing issues. There was probably viewing PDFs and all sorts of things on different websites that Chrome covered a lot more than what Firefox did. I remember I used to come across a lot of issues. I can't remember what they were. I think printing was one of them, I think, but there was just, there was things that if it didn't work on Firefox, you would use Chrome to do it, right? And that was one of the other things as well, I think. But maybe they just too busy worrying about who's the best within the CEO realm rather than worrying about what they're really there for the users. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
Chrome is like that adage about Microsoft. No one gets fired for, choosing Microsoft. And I feel like Chrome has become that safe choice that everybody knows. If they use Android, it's the browser that's on their phone by default.
Yeah.
Unless it's Samsung and their web thing or whatever. But, so it's just a recognizable name. And if the fact that you can run it on anything and get that same experience. I mean, yes, it doesn't have the same, I mean, some of the advantages that we see in Firefox, but like it is the standard and everybody just is used to it at this point. And it's going to take a hell of a either like maybe if the antitrust thing, breaks them up and someone buys Chrome and does a terrible job with it, that's possible that it opens the door. But I mean, I don't know.
So, I mean, as much as I loathe Google, it is probably the best thing that's come out of that company because it's a high performance browser, performs well, it supports all the standards, everything just works.
I'll
Now,
take issue with the standards, but everything does work. That's simply because everybody builds for it now. When you're doing web development, you're building it for Chrome.
But they're not Chrome specific extensions. They're pushing. They're pushing HTML5 and CSS3.
They are, but they still don't necessarily comply to web standards. So they kind of they are so dominant that they can set the standard, and if they just choose to break something, they can. I mean, it's just the I've seen it happen. I mean, it's just what they can do because they have the clout, and so be it, right? I mean, why shouldn't they? Why would they listen to a standards board that doesn't serve their needs because they're the biggest browser? I mean,
I'm not sure that's true though. I mean,
I
work with this stuff I work with browsers every single day.
Me too, man. So, I mean, maybe my experience is a little outdated, but I mean, that was all I know is that, if my standard is if I build it in Firefox, it's going to work in every browser.
Right.
because Firefox adheres 100% to standards. Whereas if I build it in Chrome, there's a chance it's not going to work in another browser.
Hmm.
So that tells you something.
That's kind of turned around, actually. If you go out there and look at an array of features and standardization of all the major browsers, those two have literally flipped. And I know where you're coming from. You're absolutely right, because I used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But
Like I said, my data is probably a little bit out of date, but anyway.
But yeah, what I do, I run Chromium. I don't even run Chrome anymore. But there is, if anybody wants to use Chrome or Chromium, there is a de-Googled flat pack out there of Chromium.
Yeah, I have that one, the red with the red logo.
Yeah. It actually works pretty well,
Mhm.
For everyday browser, it would be fine for someone who just doesn't want to run Chrome. So
All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock. Are we
It is. So, yeah, we're running a little behind, but that's okay because I did skate out for a while. So thank you for your patience. And actually,
Yeah.
I was listening to you guys the whole way out, and you don't need me. Eric should be the host. Anyway, next week is an application appetizer. I don't know what we should talk about. We could what's exciting in the application world these days? I know we were beating the browser drum here, but what?
I have so much fun on flathub.org. I mean, it's like I've given up on distro hopping because they're just similar enough that I'm not getting like the payoff that I used to get. But I love just going on FlatHub, and there are just like so many interesting applications out there. Anyway, I know that doesn't help, but I'm just like,
actually, we haven't done these in a while. What about a FlatHub potluck? So for our application appetizer.
Sure.
So pick something out of FlatHub that you can share that like maybe a really neat application. There's actually a few recently that I would love to talk about, and we can do that. Unless somebody has any objections. No? Okay. No objections from the I'd say the peanut gallery, but I'm not sure what gallery this is. Not quite peanuts. Also, can't do peanuts anymore because people are allergic, so that doesn't help. But anyway, all right. So next week.
I'll just mention one because I won't be here next week. But
okay.
I normally used to use YT-DLP. Does everybody know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use that.
Yeah. Okay. So there's one on Flatpak. It's a I think it's a GTK front end YT downloader, and it's really cool. Very simple way of downloading things. You might want to look at that one. I've been using it. It's quite good.
I think that might be your app for next week, Colin.
But he'll be off working in the coal mine, so
yeah, I won't be. Yeah,
that's right.
It's oil and gas anyway. Oil and gas are working.
So what's it? YT? What is it called? I just want to write it down.
YT downloader. YT downloader.
There's so many. There's like that's a very popular app. Oh yeah, I like these where you can extract the audio if you want, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I just thought I'd put my 5 cents worth before I go.
I've just committed the YTDLP commands to memory, and so I just do that.
There is that.
I largely just download I just do that and then in quotes whatever the URL is and call it good for the most part. But I could probably do better. Anyway, well, excellent. So next week will be a application appetizer FlatHub potluck. So there we go. So next week I'm going to be out of town, so there'll be any Linux Saloon next week. But the week after that, we should be salooning again. Yeah, the second.
Saloonin. I like it.
August 2nd.
Saloonin.
Yeah.
We'll be saloonin.
Love it. Saloonin.
I need a T-shirt that says saloonin on it and have everybody go.
Yeah.
What is that?
What did you do yesterday? I was saloonin.
With an
Oh yeah, definitely with the apostrophe. Yeah, 100%.
Linux
Saloon.
Saloon.
Saloonin. Saloonin with Linux. There you go.
I have to write that down. So, well, I appreciate you Salooners being here. And if you have any suggestions for the show, if you want to be a part of it, you know, anything, any topics you want to throw out there, to send me suggestions at linuxsaloon.com, or you can tag myself or somebody, Eris, in Discord or in the Telegram chat for any suggestions you may have, whether it be distribution suggestions, application suggestions, or poll ideas, anything you got, fire away. So it is that time for a last call. So anybody have anything they want to say? I know, like Tyler, I haven't seen you in a while, so I do appreciate you being here. I don't know if you have anything you want to share with everybody.
No, nothing specific on mind. Just kind of glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you being
Yeah, it's
here.
good to have you back, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to have a familiar face that doesn't seem to have aged at all. I know what you've got going on there,
remember,
but maybe a special cream you're using.
Tyler does. He always finds a vein of Linux and he like explores it very deeply. And I'm trying to remember what it was last time I saw you. I don't remember, but anyway, I remember you were like into that thing, and it was like, all right. So yeah.
Yeah, once you
No,
find
you're-
something you really like, I mean, I don't blame you for sticking with
Well,
it.
It's awesome.
We could all learn from that, right?
Yeah.
I wish I was that focused.
Me too.
I think for me, it's been like 15 years on openSUSE at this point. So. it's been
Well,
a
that's
while.
pretty focused. Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
That's a pretty unhealthy obsession, isn't it?
Almost.
Almost. Yeah.
It's just.
I want to say I've been on Fedora for the last 5 years. of
Maybe
some
that's
sort.
what it was. Maybe it was Fedora that you were like definitely like all in.
Yeah, it was Fedora, I remember, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think I've been on Arch Linux for like maybe 5-6 years, I think. I'm pretty sure. But just been changing up the desktops and stuff, but also learning all the stuff I spoke about today. But yeah, it's been a while.
My last major change, other than, doing Atomic on my laptops and spare machines, my last big change is going from GNOME to Cosmic a few months ago when I went to 42.
And
Yeah, I did see you mention you're on Cosmic, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I know it's alpha, but do you feel like maybe that's giving it a disservice, saying it's an alpha? It seems like maybe it should be a beta at this point.
It's close, isn't it?
It's close. They're waiting on finishing a few things up, but there are certain things like some portals might still be missing, and that still kind of keeps it in that alpha state.
Yeah, in the file system, when you right-click a folder and properties or a file and you want to make it executable, it doesn't really have that option either, to be honest, at the moment either. So I don't know if you've experienced different, Tyler, but that's what I've noticed. There's no, because I've been mucking around with bash scripts, I have to make them executable. So I have to open it in a terminal and do it manually. Right.
I'm just used to doing that manually, just chmod
Oh,
plus X
okay,
on the
right.
file. I'm just used to doing
Yeah,
that.
right.
No, the
Yeah,
thing
no,
that's
no,
really, the thing that prompted my jump to Cosmic a few months ago is I upgraded the Fedora 42, and PopShell and the latest version of GNOME are not getting along. So I was like, I'm just going to jump to Cosmic, and
Right.
stuck with that since, especially because one thing I really enjoy in Cosmic is each display has its own set of workspaces, and I have taken full advantage of that.
Oh, neat. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And I'll tell you what else I like in Cosmic is the what do you call it, where you got tabbed each window, everything can be tabbed.
Yes,
different,
yeah, you can stack
what is it
windows and
called?
have them
Stacking.
be tabbed. Yeah,
Yes,
I love that.
That is
That
really
is
cool.
that is part of the Pop Shell and Cosmic tiling workflow that I love, and I really wish. And this is why I've not really gone back to Plasma. Is there's not a tiling extension on Plasma that does the same thing, and I got to have that stacking as part of my tiling environment.
Because you don't have to look for windows, or you don't even have to open the overview or anything like that. You just got it all tabbed in the one window, go from one application to another. I mean, is I don't really take a lot of notice of these things, but that is one thing that is really pretty cool, I must say.
Yep.
Yeah. Keeps things well organized.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of like changes to the way we use desktops. So whenever you find something like that, it's like, oh, okay, that's a cool new way to do
Yeah,
things.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, last time I used Cosmic, I thought it was a really great experience, and I didn't have any striking issues with it, but I didn't use it for like my main rig, so I didn't. If I probably wouldn't have seen them, but yeah, I thought that I thought leaving it in alpha as long as they have has been kind of a disservice, but that's just me. What do I know?
Yeah, I suppose I don't want to put something out that's not fully completely functional, because then they'll get too many
Microsoft doesn't have a
negative
problem with that.
comments, I suppose, if it comes out as like a beta. People, the expectation,
Yeah.
right? This is the problem in life. People's expectations
Right.
get lowered real quick, and then the negatives come out, and then it probably shines a bad light on Cosmic itself. So maybe they're just waiting till it's almost fully complete to do that. It probably makes sense anyway, to
No,
be honest.
it's very they're super smart for doing it like this, because in
Yeah.
terms of an alpha, like, I mean, the fact that they've even built it as fast as they have, and
Yeah.
that they call it an alpha, and that there's so many like pushes and new releases and stuff like that. I mean, they're gonna cruise into beta and have something serious, like head turning,
Yeah.
like, oh, there's another real option for a desktop on Linux. So
And I think that, yeah, that's a better way than doing it too early.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
to keep people happy, because then you want something that's positive, right? Then people may jump on board.
no,
I wouldn't be, I'd like to see something like Ubuntu adopt that type of desktop.
who knows? Because
I doubt-
what I'm curious to see is they talk about it being very modular and the ability to take it as a base and then extend it in a lot of ways. And we won't see that until it gets released, probably.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious to see like who takes it and does different crazy stuff with it, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Yep.
you, Tyler, but I find it really quick, the desktop itself, and
Oh yeah.
even file transfers is really quick as well. It's like just everything seems to work so much better than a lot of other desktops.
Yeah, and the thing I'm excited for is, yeah, once it hits that stable release, I'm excited to see what people do with like panel applets and developing different Rust and ISD applications for it,
Yep.
layouts, maybe like global menu plugins would be fun to see. But for now, just kind of the simple layout that I have right now, I'm really enjoying with it.
I gotta hop out, guys. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, thank you very much, Adam.
All right.
later, Adam.
If anybody else has anything wanted to say, I know, Dale, you've got some new videos out.
I don't have a new video, but I have a new article on my website, lowtechlinux.com, that gives you instructions on how to set up transactional updates on Tumbleweed to have it update automatically and create your snapshot and all that good stuff, just like Micro OS does, but for Tumbleweed and not Atomic.
Nice.
That's cool. I have to
I've
check
been
that out.
watching your videos,
Cool.
Dale. You got some really nice videos. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I want to see the rest of the toys that he has in his house. That's actually really what I'd like to see.
Problem with the toys I have that I show you, I forget about them until somebody mentions something about such a thing, and then I hold up 16 cell phones in my hand.
Right.
I want that toolbox in the
Yeah, I was just looking at that
background.
toolbox too. Like that's an impressive toolbox. That is a real man's toolbox right there. That's why I don't have one. So I've not unlocked that level.
Big
yet.
boy toolbox. That's right.
Yeah, maybe someday. Anybody have anything else they want to share, Mike? I know you've been working on an application for a while. I don't know how that's
Yeah, I
going.
got sidetracked last couple of weeks, but
Totally
I've been working
understand.
on it, right?
Totally understand.
But I wish that Colin would have been around Thursday. I had to write a bash script, and I could have put it to work, man.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah.
was mining coal. So
Yeah. I tell you, man, it's amazing though, how flexible Bash is and what you can do with it. So
Yeah. It's actually it's a lot of fun.
it is.
Just like small little automations.
Mhm.
This is just totally an aside. I know we're way over time, but my son, I left my computer, like he was using my computer. He wrote a script that he put in my auto start to launch Doom as soon as my computer came up. And so so I plugged in
That's
at
funny.
work and turned on the computer.
That's hilarious.
So it's like, well
Too
done.
smart for
You've
his
taught
own
him
good.
too well.
That's right. That's right.
Like, well done. He's also, he actually prefers Fedora over openSUSE. I'm only
Yeah.
slightly hurt by it. I don't care that much, actually.
Listen,
It's
you gotta
honestly, it's
let
whatever.
him. You give him the space and then see what
It's-
happens. You know?
Honestly, it's whatever you want to use. I don't really care one way or the other. But then when he has a problem with Fedora, I'm like, I don't know, go into Yast and do this. He's like, well, that doesn't help me. I'm like, sorry. That's why I use it, because I'm lazy. So, anyway. I wanted to bring up, so yesterday, Rick Koppel, who joins us sometimes, I was able to meet up with him in Grand
Yep.
Rapids, Michigan, and so I did put a picture
Oh,
on
neat.
the
Cool.
what we had. I had lunch with Rick and his son Jeremiah. Went to a hot dog place called like Coney something. Anyway, in Grand Rapids area, and he's up there doing a writing workshop. So he's authored a lot of books, but it was neat to see him and actually meet him, and got to hang out with him for a little over an hour. That was pretty cool. So I picked him up from the airport, went to get lunch, dropped him off at the hotel, and anyway, so that was fun. So if you're in the area, yeah, I'll drive an hour and a half out of my way potentially to come see you. So because it's fun to see people, not just on this little screen here I got going on. So
I'll let you know if I'm ever there.
we don't have any coal mines
better.
around here.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Hey, we have them down here, Colin. You can come visit here.
I do work for an American company anyway called Bechtel. You've probably heard of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I haven't. No, sorry.
No? Okay.
Well, Anna Rita, I would love to come to Canada at some point in time. I have family in Canada. Actually, quite a bit of family in Canada now. So not sure which part of the America's top hat you're in, but yeah, maybe someday.
Yeah.
Oh, bring
Well-
lots of money because inflation, that's everywhere.
We'll bring American money.
Well, I
But
mean,
if I ever leave the country again, I'm going to Canada, 100%.
it's Vancouver where I'd like to go because that's where I have some family out there, and I have yet to visit. I've been invited and just haven't done it yet. Maybe someday.
I'm hoping next time I go out to Linux Fest Northwest, I'd love to take a day and just swing up north and go up to Vancouver.
Yeah. Yep. Vancouver would be awesome. I want to see Toronto. I want to see Montreal. I want to see, lots of places.
So
So it'd be
Toronto, Ontario. So one of the things I like to say is, and Eric, you might know where this is from, but instead of saying worst case scenario, I'll say worst case Ontario. And sometimes people look at me like I got a lobster growing out of my forehead, and I don't explain myself. But
Where's Ontario? Mm.
ooh,
Not
sushi
rocket
with barbecue.
appliances.
Yep. You know where I'm going with that. There's many other puns like that. So anyway, I'm also part of a podcast called Linux Out Loud. I think we're recording, I think this week potentially, if I can do it. So, anyway, Colin, I guess if you ever do a video again, be sure to let us know.
Yeah, I maybe on my next swing when I come back, I might start up that. I think it's just that I try to balance a long time away from home and not be stuck in the room too much.
Right. Just gotta cut out sleep.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the deal.
Sleep is so
Yeah, I might-
overrated.
What's that?
Hey,
I said sleep is so overrated.
Oh, for
Overrated.
Sure, yeah. All right. Well, Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support, however you do it, being a part of this conversation, both here in the Zoom or in YouTube or, watching the show after the fact. I also want to thank everyone involved making the Linux open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back in a personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time.